Good afternoon. I'm Cheryl, and I'd like to welcome you to my kitchen in Idaho. Today we're making one of our family favorites, chicken pot pie. Paula, my niece, tells me that you make one great chicken pot pie, but I'm going to challenge you to give this recipe a try because I know this can compete with yours any day. So first we're going to start out with a 1/4 pound of bacon, which we've chopped here, and we're going to add it to a hot skillet and get that thing going and sizzling and getting the bacon nice and crisp. While that's cooking and browning and getting nice and crisp, we're going to come over here and chop 1½ cups of chicken. I use chicken breast in this recipe. I'm going to use chicken breast for my recipe, and I like to keep my chicken breast just a little bit on the frozen side. It makes chopping a lot easier. I'm chopping my chicken, and it looks like our bacon's ready to go. So I'm just going to drain this bacon off, set it on a plate to the side. And then I'm going to take this oil and drain it off until I have just about 2 tablespoons left in the pot. And that I'll be using to brown my chicken. I'm going to give that a quick stir. And while that's browning, I'm going to wash my hands real quick since I have been working with raw meat. Now just give it a quick stir, and as it browns, we're going to step over here and start working on our vegetables. These are the vegetables we'll be using in our chicken pot pie. Carrots, mushrooms, onions, celery, some fresh parsley, fresh garlic, dried oregano. So we're going to start by chopping up our vegetables. First I start with the carrots, because these take a little bit longer to cook than our other vegetables. I like to keep the dice on all my vegetables about the same. That way they all cook a little evenly. Remove my chicken from my skillet and set it on the plate with my bacon so it won't dry out. And now I'm going to use the same skillet and throw my 1½ cups of diced carrots in. I'm going to give this a quick stir, and as this is cooking, I'll move on to the next vegetable. The next vegetable will be 1½ cups of onions. This takes about 1 large onion. Dice my onion, and now I'm going to add that into my carrots. One thing that I like to do when I'm making beef pot pie instead of chicken is I like to add potatoes. So after my carrots, I would add my potatoes, then my onions, because potatoes take a little bit longer to cook than the onions. And now I'm going to slice about 1/4 pound of mushrooms. That's about 5 medium-sized mushrooms. And I'm just going to slice the larger ones in half. I don't want to dice them, I want them sliced. Now I'm going to chop my celery. I'm going to give that a quick stir. And my celery. And another quick stir there. Now we're going to start adding our seasonings, which I need a couple cloves of garlic, either 2 small ones or 1 large one. That looks like a pretty good one, and I'm just going to smash it flat, pull off the skin. That was a tough one. And then dice it up. And this goes to our skillet. Another quick stir. And then comes the fresh parsley. We need about a tablespoon of this. So I just bunch all my ends together, get a nice sharp knife, keep my knuckles and my fingers out of the way. And that's good for my parsley. We're going to add a 1/2 teaspoon of dry oregano. Now I'm going to add back to my vegetables my chicken and my crisp bacon. Stir that in real quick to get it evenly distributed, and then I'm going to make a well in the center and add 2 tablespoons of butter. I make a well in the center of my vegetables and my meat and I put my 2 tablespoons of butter in the middle so that it's on direct heat and will melt quicker. Next, I'm going to sprinkle 2 tablespoons of all-purpose flour over my chicken and vegetables. This is going to create a roux, which will cause the chicken stock to thicken. I like to coat all my vegetables and chicken evenly with the flour. That way it cooks a little bit in the heat, and so your gravy won't have such a floury taste. Now, I'm going to add 1½ cup of chicken stock. Now that my gravy is thickened, I'm going to add the star ingredient, which is Philadelphia cream cheese, and I add a whole 8 ounces. I just stir this in, and this will make this dish rich, creamy, and hearty. And it adds an amazingly great flavor. As my chicken pot pie filling thickens, I'm going to move on to the crust. Nowadays, you can buy crust in the refrigerator section that comes in tubes like this, or you can buy them in the freezer section that are pre-made. I don't do a bottom crust with my pot pie because I don't like a doughy bottom. But when I do a bottom crust, I always par-bake my bottom crust first. But today, we're only going to do a top crust, and I'm going to use the refrigerated pie crust. Now I'm going to take my filling, pour it into my casserole dish, and if you want to, you can use an oven-proof skillet and bake it directly in this oven-proof skillet. I'm going to take out roll up my pie crust, and just lay it over the top of my casserole dish, bending the sides under, and then I'm going to flute all the way around the edge, pouring the middle to let the steam vent out so my crust stays nice and crisp. If you don't have pie crust, and you don't want to invest the time in making it from scratch, but you do have biscuits on hand, you can always put biscuits around the edges of your pot pie. But I like to cut my biscuits in half and then overlap them around the edges. This makes another great, hearty, quick, and easy dish. Now, it's into a 400-degree oven for about 15 to 20 minutes. All you really have to do is brown the top because the filling is all ready to go. So 20 minutes later, and we'll be eating dinner. It's been 20 minutes, and so our pot pie is done. Isn't that gorgeous? Here's dinner. I hope you enjoy. I know I certainly will.